There are secret texts locked away in the Vatican, and they might just prove who you really are. For centuries, the elite spiritual authorities have controlled sacred knowledge, keeping it hidden from those who were meant to find it. But the time of secrecy is over. The truth is emerging, and you need to hear this before it's too late. Deep within the hidden chambers of the Vatican, in archives that the public is forbidden to see, lies evidence of something that could change everything. The truth about the chosen ones has been concealed for centuries, buried under layers of doctrine and deception. Why? Because knowledge is power, and if you knew who you truly were, their control over you would crumble. They have rewritten history, removed sacred texts, and suppressed divine wisdom meant for your awakening. But no deception lasts forever. The walls of secrecy are cracking, and the revelations that were once locked away are coming to light. If you've always felt different, as if you were meant for something greater, this message is for you. If you've sensed that forces beyond what you can see have been working against you, trying to keep you in darkness, you are not imagining things. They fear what will happen if you awaken. Today, we are going to uncover what the Vatican has been hiding, why these texts were kept secret, and how this lost knowledge reveals your divine mission. Stay until the very end, because what you are about to hear will shake the very foundations of everything you thought you knew. If this resonates with you already, comment 77 below to claim your power. Now let's begin. What the Vatican knows about the spiritual awakening. The Vatican is not just a religious institution. It is a gatekeeper of ancient knowledge, hidden within its vast archives. Behind locked doors and layers of secrecy are texts so powerful that even high-ranking clergy are forbidden from accessing them. These documents hold truths that could shatter the very foundations of what you've been taught about spirituality, the divine, and most importantly, your own identity. They contain details about the chosen ones, those who carry divine light within them, those with a spiritual calling beyond the ordinary. And make no mistake, they know exactly who you are. For centuries, spiritual awakenings have been met with resistance, oppression, and silence. The powerful institutions of the world, whether religious or political, have understood one thing: knowledge is the most potent force on earth. When people awaken to who they truly are, they can no longer be controlled. That is why throughout history, sacred knowledge has either been destroyed, manipulated, or locked away where only the elite can access it. The Dead Sea Scrolls, the apocryphal books, the Gnostic Gospels, each of these texts contained revelations about the divine power within us. But they were labeled heretical, deemed dangerous, and hidden from the masses. They were not excluded by accident. They were removed with intention, because when people understand their true nature, the systems built to suppress them begin to crumble. But something is shifting. The old methods of control are losing their grip, and the truth is beginning to rise. Have you felt it? A stirring inside of you, an unshakable sense that you are meant for something greater? That you see things differently than those around you, as if your soul is tuned to a different frequency. This is not your imagination. It is the call of awakening. It is the recognition of something that has always been inside of you but has been buried under centuries of deception. The Vatican and other institutions that hold the keys to this knowledge have always known that there would come a time when the chosen ones would begin to rise. And we are in that era now. The signs of this awakening are everywhere, yet most people are too distracted to notice. Society is designed to keep you asleep. Entertainment, social pressures, and even certain religious teachings are meant to numb you, to keep you disconnected from your own divine essence. But you are different. You've begun to see beyond the illusions. You've noticed the inconsistencies in what you've been told, the gaps in history, the contradictions in doctrine. You've begun questioning, searching, longing for something more. And this, more than anything, terrifies them. Because once you start asking the right questions, the entire structure of their deception begins to fall apart. There is a reason why ancient knowledge has been hidden. There is a reason why spiritual texts have been rewritten, misinterpreted, or outright erased. Because the truth is too powerful. The idea that divinity is not something separate from you, but something within you, completely undermines the authority of the gatekeepers. If you knew that you could directly connect with the divine without intermediaries, without rituals that serve the system rather than your soul, then what power would they have left over you? This is why they have worked tirelessly to ensure that the deeper truths remain concealed. But the awakening cannot be stopped. Even now, you may be experiencing the challenges that come with this awakening. The world may feel different. Things that once seemed important may now appear meaningless. Relationships may shift, as those who are still asleep fail to understand the path you are on. You may feel isolated at times, disconnected from the world around you, as if you are standing at the edge of something vast and unknown. But this is the cost of seeing the truth. You are shedding the illusions that once bound you, and while this can feel lonely, it is also the most liberating experience you will ever have. The Vatican and other institutions of control understand that true spiritual awakening is unstoppable once it begins. This is why they have spent centuries attempting to suppress it. They fear those who know who they are. They fear those who cannot be manipulated, who refuse to be controlled by fear, guilt, or shame. They fear those who walk in the full power of their divine light. And that is exactly who you are becoming. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to follow blindly, to live a life dictated by systems that were designed to keep you weak. You have always been different, and now that difference is revealing its purpose. The hidden texts, the lost knowledge, the wisdom they have tried to keep from you, it all points to one truth. You are here for a reason. You have a mission, and no matter how hard they have tried to erase it, that calling remains written within your soul. The signs of this awakening are all around us. More people than ever are beginning to question, to seek, to remember. The Vatican can no longer keep the truth locked away. The old structures of control are beginning to break. And as you continue to walk this path, you will find that the knowledge you seek will reveal itself in ways you never expected. The more you seek, the more you will find, because truth cannot be hidden from those who are destined to see it. If you feel this truth resonating within you, if you have sensed this awakening in your own life, then you are not alone. This is not a coincidence. You are part of something greater than you ever imagined. You are not lost, you are not mistaken, you are waking up, and they have known about you all along. Comment "awakened" if you feel the call. Why certain biblical texts were removed or rewritten. Have you ever felt like there was something missing in the version of history you were given? As if the puzzle of your spiritual journey was incomplete, with pieces deliberately hidden from view. The sacred texts that were removed from the Bible were not lost by accident. They were erased with intent. The original scriptures carried messages of liberation, empowerment, and a direct, unfiltered connection to the divine. But when religion became a tool of control rather than enlightenment, those messages became a threat. The truth was too powerful to be left in the hands of the people, and so it was rewritten. Imagine for a moment a world where individuals fully understood their divine potential. A world where spiritual knowledge was not centralized within institutions but was freely accessed by all who sought it. In such a world, fear-based control mechanisms would collapse. There would be no need for gatekeepers, no need for religious intermediaries who claim to stand between you and God. This is precisely why certain texts were removed, deemed dangerous, and in some cases outright destroyed. They did not fit the narrative of submission and dependency that powerful religious authorities sought to cultivate. Take the Book of Enoch, for example. It speaks of celestial beings imparting divine wisdom to humanity, revealing knowledge about higher dimensions, spiritual warfare, and the hidden nature of reality. It describes fallen angels who sought to corrupt mankind, but it also details the destiny of those who remain faithful to their divine calling. This book was once widely read and respected among early believers, yet it was methodically erased from the biblical canon. Why? Because it spoke of cosmic realities that the religious elite did not want people to understand. It opened minds to a greater spiritual battle beyond the earthly realm, a battle that transcended human authority and control. Then there are the Gnostic texts, which take the concept of spiritual sovereignty even further. These writings do not present God as a distant ruler to be feared, but as an intimate presence within, a source of divine knowledge that every soul has access to. The Gospel of Thomas, for instance, records Jesus saying, "The kingdom of God is inside of you and all around you, not in buildings of wood and stone. Split a piece of wood and I am there." Lift a stone and you will find me. This is a radical statement because it dismantles the need for external religious structures. It suggests that divine connection is not confined to sacred buildings or religious institutions, but rather is found within every individual who seeks it. Yet, instead of encouraging people to explore these teachings, the Church labeled them heretical. They were cast aside, buried beneath centuries of dogma, and those who spoke of them were silenced. Why? Because knowledge is freedom, and free souls cannot be controlled. When you begin to understand that the divine is not something separate from you, but something within you, you no longer operate from a place of fear. You do not need an institution to grant you access to God because that connection is already encoded into your very being. And that realization threatens the entire framework of religious control. Even beyond the Gnostic texts, there were other ancient writings that challenged the conventional narrative. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, for example, portrayed her not as a passive follower, but as a leader, a woman who held profound spiritual insight and understanding. This account conflicted with the patriarchal structure of the early church, which sought to establish a rigid hierarchy where authority was held only by men. The idea that a woman could possess hidden knowledge and stand as a teacher among the disciples did not fit within the constructs of the emerging religious system. And so, her story was erased, distorted, and minimized. But no truth can remain hidden forever. The more you seek, the more these revelations begin to surface. The missing pieces start to align, and the picture that emerges is one of power, your power. You were never meant to live in ignorance, blindly accepting what was handed down to you without question. You were meant to discover, to awaken, to see beyond the veil of deception. The reason these texts were removed was not because they lacked truth, but because they contained too much of it. They revealed a version of spirituality that does not require fear, guilt, or external validation. They encouraged direct knowledge, personal enlightenment, and an unshakable connection to the divine that no institution could regulate. This is why the process of awakening is often met with resistance. When you begin to ask the right questions, when you start to unravel the false narratives you were given, you will notice that the world around you reacts. Some people will dismiss you, others will try to pull you back into the old ways of thinking. The system itself will attempt to keep you distracted, consumed by trivial matters, so that you never have time to truly seek. But once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. The Vatican and other religious authorities have long been the keepers of these secrets, ensuring that only a select few have access to the full picture. But the time of secrecy is ending. The lost knowledge is returning, and those who are meant to receive it will be drawn to it, just as you have been drawn here. This is not a coincidence. You are being called to remember, to reclaim the wisdom that was taken from you, to step into the divine authority that has always been yours. If you've felt this stirring within you, if you've sensed that there is more to your existence than what you've been told, you are not alone. This is the path of the truth seeker, the one who refuses to accept surface-level narratives, the one who dares to look deeper. The more you seek, the more you will find. The hidden texts, the ancient wisdom, the truths they tried to keep from you. It is all still there, waiting for you to uncover it. You were never meant to live in spiritual chains. The path to knowledge, to divine awakening, is open before you. The question is, will you walk it? Comment, truth seeker, if this resonates with you. The deeper we go, the clearer it becomes that everything we've been told has been filtered, altered, or erased. But if they've gone to such great lengths to keep this hidden, what exactly were they so afraid of? In the next sections, we'll reveal what happens when you access this ancient spiritual knowledge and how secrecy has been used as a tool to control the truth. If you're finding value in this, consider sending a super thanks to support more truth being uncovered. How these hidden documents reveal your divine mission. You are not just another person living an ordinary life. There is something different about you, something you have felt since childhood, an awareness that the world around you does not quite make sense the way it is presented. You have always sensed that there was more to existence, more to reality, more to who you are. At times, this feeling may have been subtle, like an unshakable intuition guiding you, or at other times, it has been overwhelming, as if your very soul was calling you toward something greater. These hidden texts, the ones they have buried and labeled forbidden, confirm what you have always known deep down. You were sent here for a purpose. You are part of something beyond the physical world, something that transcends ordinary existence. When you began to wake up, you may have noticed that everything started to shift around you. People you once resonated with now seem distant, conversations that once felt engaging now feel empty, and the dreams you once had may no longer satisfy you. This is not a coincidence. This is the process of awakening, the process of remembering why you are here. The hidden texts, the suppressed scriptures, they all speak of this awakening. They were not removed from history because they lacked importance. They were removed because they spoke too much truth. The Gospel of Thomas, one of these banned scriptures, contains a striking statement. The kingdom of God is within you. This is not a metaphor. It is a revelation that was deemed too dangerous for the masses to hear. It means that divine power is not found in temples, cathedrals, or in the hands of religious authorities. It means that you do not need to seek salvation from an external force. You were born with divinity already inside of you. The Vatican, along with other religious institutions, has fought tirelessly to keep this knowledge buried. Because the moment you recognize your divine nature, their control over you dissolves. They cannot rule over those who understand that they are sovereign spiritual beings, directly connected to God without the need for intermediaries. If you've ever felt isolated, misunderstood, or like you don't belong in this world, it is because you are not of this world. Your mission is greater than the life society has conditioned you to accept. You were never meant to fit into the mold that was handed to you. You were not born to conform, to obey without question, or to follow a path dictated by others. You were sent here to awaken, to break cycles of deception, and to lead others into the light. But this mission is not without its challenges. The moment you begin to embrace your true purpose, you will find resistance. The world will push back. The system that thrives on keeping people asleep will work against you, throwing distractions, obstacles, and even people into your path to make you doubt yourself. Have you ever noticed how, just as you begin to step into your power, suddenly things seem to go wrong? Relationships fall apart, conflicts arise, people misunderstand you, and you feel like you are being tested at every turn. This is because the moment you begin to step into truth, the forces that have kept you in illusion will do everything they can to pull you back. You may even question yourself, wondering if you are imagining all of this, if it is all just a dream. But deep down, you know the truth. This path is not for everyone. Not everyone will understand what you are going through, and that is by design. The hidden texts confirm that not all are called to this path, and fewer still will answer it. This is why many of the great teachers throughout history spoke in parables, because the truth is not for those who are content to remain in darkness. It is for those who are willing to seek, to question, to push beyond the limitations of this world. Ancient wisdom tells us that those who awaken must go through a period of transformation. Like gold being refined in fire, you will face trials meant to shape you into who you were always meant to become. This process may be painful. It may feel like everything you once knew is crumbling around you. But this is not destruction, it is rebirth. The life you were conditioned to live must dissolve so that your true self can emerge. Just as a seed must break apart before it can grow, so too must you shed the layers of illusion before you can fully embrace your mission. This is why so many ancient texts speak of the chosen ones. Not because they are better than others, but because they carry within them a knowledge, a light, that the world is not yet ready to understand. But being chosen is not about privilege, it is about responsibility. You are here to guide others, to hold space for those who are just beginning to see the truth. You may not realize it, but simply by being who you are already doing this. People notice your energy, even if they don't understand why. They are drawn to you, seeking something they cannot quite name. And this is part of your mission, to shine your light so that others may find their own. The lost scriptures, the hidden knowledge, all of it points to one undeniable truth. You are not here by accident. You were sent here for a reason, and no matter how hard they have tried to erase it, that purpose is written within your very soul. No external authority can take it from you. No force in this world can change what has been divinely ordained. This is why they have tried to keep this knowledge from you. This is why they have rewritten history, altered sacred texts, and discouraged people from seeking the truth on their own. Because the moment you realize who you are, their power over you disappears. The chains fall away, the illusions crumble, and you step fully into the light of your own divine purpose. The question is, will you accept it? Will you walk the path you were always meant to walk? Or will you allow the distractions, the fears, and the false narratives to pull you back into the darkness? If you feel this truth stirring inside of you, if you have sensed this calling in your own life, then you already know the answer. You are here for a reason. You are waking up because it is time. The lost knowledge is returning. The hidden truths are coming to the surface, and those who were meant to see will see. This is not the end of your journey. It is only the beginning. Comment "Mission accepted" if you feel this truth. What happens when you access ancient spiritual knowledge? When you begin to seek the hidden wisdom, something incredible happens. The world around you does not change immediately, but your perception of it does. It is as if a veil has been lifted, and for the first time, you can see beyond the illusions that have kept so many bound in ignorance. You begin to notice patterns, connections, and synchronicities that were always there, but which your previous mindset could not recognize. You realize that reality is not as random or chaotic as you once believed. It is structured, intentional, and deeply spiritual. This is why the Vatican and other religious institutions have worked so hard to guard ancient spiritual knowledge. They understand its power, not just as information but as transformation. The knowledge itself is not dangerous, but what happens when people begin to embody it is. When you access these sacred teachings, you are no longer a passive participant in the world. You become an active co-creator of your reality. You begin to walk in authority, guided not by fear or social conditioning but by divine intuition. The ancient mystery schools, the Essenes, the early Christians, these were not just religious groups, but initiates into higher wisdom, people who understood that there is more to existence than what can be perceived with the five senses. But the moment you step onto this path, something else begins to happen. You may feel resistance, a force pushing back against your awakening. This is not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are doing something right. The systems that have kept humanity in spiritual bondage for centuries are designed to suppress awakening. They rely on people being too distracted, too fearful, or too disconnected from their own divinity to realize what is happening. Have you noticed how, when you begin to question, when you start seeking deeper truths, obstacles seem to arise? Perhaps you suddenly face setbacks, misunderstandings with loved ones, or a sense of isolation. This is because awakening is disruptive, not just to you, but to the energy field around you. The moment you start to see the truth, you are no longer feeding into the same energetic patterns that sustain the illusion. And this creates friction. The ancient texts that were hidden away spoke of this. The Gospel of Luke records an obscure but powerful statement. "Woe unto you, when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets." This reveals an eternal truth. When you follow the path of deep spiritual awakening, you will not be celebrated by the world. You will face opposition. You will be misunderstood. But this is the sign that you are on the right path. If you were conforming to the status quo, no one would resist you. This resistance is not always external. Sometimes the greatest battle happens within. You may question yourself, wondering if what you are experiencing is real or if you are simply imagining things. This is part of the test. The hidden wisdom you are uncovering is meant to strengthen you, but in order to claim it fully, you must move beyond doubt and into conviction. Ancient initiates understood this well. Before they could access the deeper mysteries, they had to pass through trials, refining their spirit until they were ready to hold the power of divine knowledge. And make no mistake, this is power. When you access these truths, you no longer operate as a victim of circumstance. You begin to see how your thoughts, intentions, and spiritual energy shape the world around you. You understand the deeper significance of your emotions, your experiences, and even your suffering. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Everything you have been through has been preparing you for this very moment. But knowledge alone is not enough. Many have sought these secrets only to fall into ego, believing that knowing hidden truths makes them superior. This is another trap. True spiritual awakening is not about gaining power over others. It is about aligning yourself with divine will, about using knowledge to uplift, to heal, and to restore. The texts that were removed from common access did not just reveal esoteric mysteries. They provided a blueprint for how to live in harmony with higher wisdom. They warned against pride, against using knowledge selfishly, and against seeking truth for personal gain rather than for the benefit of all. This is why so many of the ancient teachers spoke in parables, why they hid deeper meanings within stories and symbols. They knew that true wisdom is not just something you learn, it is something you become. The sacred knowledge you are uncovering is not just meant to inform you, it is meant to transform you. And with this transformation comes responsibility. As you continue down this path, you will notice that the way you interact with the world changes. You may find yourself drawn to different people, different environments, and even different ways of thinking. The things that once entertained you may no longer hold your interest. The conversations that once felt engaging may now seem empty. This is because you are shifting into a new level of awareness, one that cannot be sustained by the illusions you once accepted as reality. This transition can be lonely at times, but do not let that discourage you. There are others who are walking this path, others who are also awakening to the deeper truths of existence. You are not alone. In fact, the more you align with this wisdom, the more you will find yourself guided to those who are meant to walk this journey with you. The ancient texts speak of this as well, of the divine orchestration that brings people together when the time is right. And so, you stand at a threshold. You have glimpsed the truth, and now you must decide what to do with it. Will you retreat into comfort, pretending you never saw? Or will you step forward, embracing the unknown, trusting that the same force that led you to this knowledge will continue to guide you? If you choose the latter, understand that you are stepping into your power. You are reclaiming the wisdom that was always meant for you. The forces that have worked to keep this knowledge hidden cannot stop those who are truly ready to see. And if you are still here, still feeling this pull deep within your soul, then you are ready. Comment, "I am ready," if you refuse to be controlled any longer. The last piece of this puzzle is the most shocking of all. This is not just about knowledge, it is about control. The final revelation will expose how the elite have used secrecy to keep you spiritually enslaved. How the elites have used secrecy to control spiritual truth. Powerful institutions have always understood a fundamental truth. Control is not maintained through brute force alone, but through the careful manipulation of knowledge. It is not necessary to imprison people in chains when their minds can be imprisoned instead. The greatest form of control is one that is invisible, where the enslaved do not even realize they are in bondage. This is why, throughout history, secret societies, elite religious authorities, and ruling powers have worked to hoard ancient wisdom while feeding the masses only fragments of the truth. Imagine a vast library containing all the answers to life's greatest questions: who we are, where we came from, what our purpose is, and what lies beyond this reality. Now imagine that a powerful few locked the doors to that library, removed certain books, burned others, and then rewrote the remaining ones in a way that suited their agenda. The knowledge still exists, but it is no longer freely accessible. The pieces of the puzzle that remain are disjointed, confusing, and incomplete. This is exactly what has happened to spiritual truth. Ancient texts that spoke of the divine power within each person were removed or rewritten. Practices that once connected humanity directly to the Creator were deemed heretical. Knowledge of the spiritual realms, of the forces working beyond the material world, was obscured so that only a select few could wield it. Meanwhile, the masses were conditioned to believe that they needed intermediaries to connect with God, that salvation was something granted by an institution rather than something realized within. The concept of sin was twisted into a tool of control, instilling fear instead of transformation. Instead of being taught how to access divine wisdom directly, people were told to rely on religious leaders who decided what was acceptable knowledge and what was forbidden. This was no accident. It was by design. Because when people understand who they truly are, when they realize that they are not powerless but powerful beyond measure, they can no longer be ruled. They break free from the systems that have kept them in fear. They see through the illusions that have been used to control them. And this is what the elite fear most. The deception is ending. The truth is returning. And once you see it, you can never be bound again. Comment, the veil is lifting if you are ready to step into the light. Reflect on this. What if the reason you've always felt different is because you were meant to wake up? What if every challenge, every obstacle was designed to strengthen you for this moment? The truth can no longer be hidden. The chosen ones are awakening. If this message spoke to your soul, make sure you are subscribed for more revelations. Share this with those who need to hear it. And comment, the truth is mine, if you claim this knowledge today.